Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh with three-quarters of my voice back from my trip to Little Rock, Arkansas, and Manchester, New Hampshire. So I'm going to let Mary Katharine Ham do most of the talking in this segment. Mary Katharine, of course, is the co-host of the Getting Hammered podcast and the Normally podcast. There's a new Getting Hammered that she and Vic Mattis put out, which was fabulous. Mary Katharine, welcome. I want to start by giving you forewarning. You're named in my Fox News column tomorrow as one of the people we've just got to get more on the air because we lost 78% of the vote in New York City of voters between 18 and 30. 66% of the vote, 30 to 45, voted for Mamdani. Clearly, they are not getting good information from people like me, or they're not listening to people like me. I'm too old for them.
Well, I might also be too old for them, but I can give it a shot. I can cosplay slightly younger. But no, look, I think speaking to young people is part of what's required to win elections. Now, are they the most reliable voting bloc? No, but that more 30s to 40s bloc is potentially young families, young singles. They are highly polarized, men versus women, men often leaning right, women leaning left. And speaking to them is tricky because there is a part of this where they feel like their deal with America has been broken. Like they were made a bunch of promises as millennials or Gen Z, and that those promises didn't pan out. And you can sort of blame many different policies and liberals or conservatives for these things, but learning how to speak to those problems to begin with and just acknowledge that you understand that people are having problems without condescending to them, I think is step one. And honestly, it's some of what Trump did with young men. Like his argument was like, I don't hate you. I kind of like some of the things you like. I don't think that you are toxic. Let's build a coalition together, right? But if their lives don't improve as a result of having done that, they will not become reliable voters and they may go the other direction.
So let me ask, how much do you worry about groypers versus communists? Because when I grew up, the communists were real, and the Stalinists were real, and they were a threat, and the Soviet Union were the baddies. And then we kind of got suckered in by the Chi-Coms, making us think that they were good. Deng Xiaoping pulled that off, that they were just going to become us, and they didn't. But now we have no Soviet Union with empty grocery stores to point to, and now allegedly groypers are out there grabbing all those people, or they're either becoming groypers or becoming commies.
Yeah, no, I am concerned because there is a tendency of both movements, it seems to me, on the left and the right to look and be like, we need this younger generation, and the only way to keep them is to sort of indulge or like leave uncommented upon all of the sort of sprinkling and flavor of anti-Semitism and racism that's involved with some of these movements or the more loud voices within them. And I think that doesn't help. Like leadership matters. I think one of the reasons that you're seeing a lot of the infighting on the right and the sort of the reemergence of groypers is because Charlie Kirk was a leader who was a bulwark against this tendency with people in this age group. And it makes me even sadder that we lost him in this violent and tragic way because as a leader, I think he was modeling something very different for young men, for young women, for the people who were excited to be part of TPUSA. On the left, you know, they're fully in on the Mamdani sort of lauding in the New York Times and mainstream arenas. Even Hassan Piker, who I would argue is even more extreme than him, they're happy to laud. So there's a difference in how high these people make it and how much praise they get. I would argue that the left side doesn't really have the infighting so much because they've given over all the power already and are not interested in leading or educating in any other direction than extreme leftism and socialism.
One of the arguments I've seen made is that the vice president has to take over for Charlie. Well, you know, the vice president's got a real job. He's got a job that requires him 24/7, 365. He cannot do college tours. He can do maybe one college a year, but he can't do college tours. So I think we've just got to have an ecosystem of people who are under 50 and under 30 who are curated almost by people who are over 50.
Yeah, and who have some experience speaking to these things, and again, acknowledging that people are struggling. There's this fine line between acknowledging that people are struggling. I think what the left does too often, and what I don't want the right to do, is acknowledge that people are struggling, but then sort of just enable it, which is what a lot of lefty programs will do, and what I don't want even a populist-leaning, right-leaning Republican Party to do, right? We want people to thrive. We want people to be successful. We want them to build families. We want them to have homes, right? So let's work on doing that instead of sort of indulging the fact that people are feeling in the doldrums about where they might be in life. And by
Well,
the way,
how
if
do
you're
we
young,
do that,
you
Mary
still have
Kath?
time.
How do we, you're right. How do we do that without indulging? Like the worst thing Mamdani ran on, the very worst, was rent control. Rent control kills affordability. It's like the silver bullet of affordability and the wooden stake through the heart and the mirror of affordability. You need garlic all around. Rent control. It does not work. Do you think people 18 to 30 know that? It sounds so good, but it does not work.
I don't think they do. And I think you can't just say socialism bad, socialism doesn't work. I think you have to explain why it doesn't work. We are suffering from generations of lack of economic literacy here, and it will not be rebuilt quickly. It concerns me, especially if you look at the UC San Diego math news that came out this week of all those people having to be in remedial math. The education process will be slow. I'm thankful for places like PragerU and Kite and Key Media who do that type of work that educates people, because people do need to understand that the policies these guys are pushing will do the opposite. And that's what I've hoped to talk about throughout my career. Like when you throw easy credit from the government at colleges, colleges get more expensive because there's no reason to rein it in. You subsidize Obamacare, everyone's care gets more expensive. We're stuck in these loops, and you do have to do a large bit of education of people. I'm thinking about just starting women's book clubs and then handing them basic economics. Like, this one will be fun. Let's have some wine.
A little Thomas Sowell for you. Well, I think that's a good idea, and I want you all to go and listen to Normally. Go like and subscribe Normally wherever you get your podcast, and Getting Hammered. I hope that wasn't the quarterly edition. I hope that was the monthly edition, Mary Katharine, but it was certainly... Oh, good. I know it. You're always working at it. It was fabulous to hear you two together again. It's like a reunion tour of the Eagles, only half their age. I like that. Mary Katharine Ham, follow her on X at MK Hammer. Get her podcast Normally and Getting Hammered. Come right back for The Hugh Hewitt Show.
Portions of The Hugh Hewitt Show are sponsored in part by BestHotGrill.com.